A new name, man. We're coming out of the lockdown. We're back in the studio. People are trying to redefine themselves, you know?
Dash is now the evolve guy.
Yeah,
That's
he's
like his brand.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's quite nearly as catchy as the one-syllable Dash, but I mean, hey, that's his choice to make. Let's see how this draft is going to go, though. We're immediately into Champion Select, my friend.
You love to see it.
Oh, absolutely. Varus banned away, and that Karma, exactly what the desk is talking about. Abadaga showed that 100 Thieves know how to use this in the mid lane. Get it out of there.
Yeah, well, now the question is, does he get the respect ban of the Akali? Are they concerned about that at all? Because he was popping off on it yesterday.
Well,
Let's see what they want to bring out. Has only been the two champions. Senna as a ban to kind of deny the Senna TK combination. We have seen some other combos with it around the world, but hasn't really shown up in the LCS just yet. Gwen, notably, still on the table. You're expecting Golden Guardians to ban it as their last ban on red side. Generally speaking, you don't want to allow that first pick to go over. But I think people are also starting to get a little bit more comfortable actually playing into the Gwen, and sometimes are willing to try to craft a strategy to take them out.
well, we saw yesterday the Renekton be a good answer to it early on, but obviously fall off later. With that Renekton banned away, 100 Thieves are saying, you better ban the Gwen, because otherwise you're going to have a bad time in this top half of the map. Golden Guardians will answer, banning that one away. Also, remember, we got the whole family getting banned out here, as Viego was also banned out by 100 Thieves, and Rumble will be the first pick of the draft.
Okay, Rumble coming through. You're expecting the trade for Udyr, very likely. That has been kind of the back and forth that most teams are willing to look towards. The question just becomes, do they feel like they need to grab it now? You know, I have seen some teams experimenting with trying to delay the Udyr pick to, you know, say third here, you're saying, okay, well, they already have their jungle.
Yeah,
and one of the things that you do have to worry about in that situation in particular, though, is actually a Rumble flex towards a solo lane. You take away the Udyr, and you end up with both the power picks, and people get knocked down a tier.
Right.
So that actually is a concern for some teams, which is why we do see this early pick here. Also allows you to try to hide solo lanes, potentially get a first round counter pick in addition to that last pick counter pick that you're going to have on that red side.
Also throwing in the Thresh here, so Chime will be on a playmaker, also on something that gives you a little bit of extra safety for whatever marksman they want to pick down there.
Absolutely. If you're going to be picking something without a dash, perhaps, Thresh can be very valuable for that Lantern. We'll see how 100 Thieves wants to answer into it. I do think you can look towards a lot of the regular engaged supports, but Tahm Kench, if you want to play more defensively, is incredibly powerful into it. If you're going to be pairing it with some sort of a scaling marksman, TK Varus, I think, can kind of generically
Varus
work
already
really
banned.
well. Excuse me. Kai'Sa will be coming through, so you're kind of assuming that the pairing they would want to look towards is then the Nautilus. So Golden Guardians may decide that warrants a ban here.
Well, we've got the Kai'Sa, Lee Sin, Rumble, so we obviously know where Kai'Sa is going, but Lee Sin and Rumble, both a lot of flexibility between those two champions here. Udyr and Thresh are very obvious where they're going to be playing the game, and with the Jinx locked in now, Golden Guardians are saying they don't want to risk having 80 carries targeted. They want to have priority over that, so now we'll see how these bans look going into the second half.
Yeah, I mean, I think you ban Nautilus for sure. If you ban more than that, you know, that's kind of more up to you, but Nautilus as a pairing is so good, not only with the Kai'Sa, but the Rumble, that feels like a no-brainer. Beyond that, you could look towards some of the other powerful engaged supports like the Leona if you want, but if you're really confident in your Thresh and you feel you can actually flay out those Zenith Blades, that can be okay to allow that to come through, especially if Jinx is going to be playing Cleanse.
Okay, let's see how the rest of this will shake out here, because we still have a little bit of time left before Golden Guardians have to lock in that final ban. Do they want to continue targeting the support role even further? Yes. So they're saying, all right, we don't want to take that timing check, that skill check on the flay into the Zenith Blade, because just a mess up one time and Jinx is dead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can still circumvent that sometimes by going flash in on Leona, Q, follow up with the ulti. It is going to force Cleanse. Maybe doesn't want to play with that. Of course, there are other engage options he can look towards if they want to pair that with the Kai'Sa. There are still things available. We've seen the Alistar come out. You know, we've seen a lot of different answers for that engaged support. Now it's time to find what Golden Guardians wants to potentially blind. I mean, I'm working under the assumption that Lee Sin is top, so I'm expecting Solo to lock in his champion here, save the Ablaze Olive pick for last. I think that makes the most sense. Yes, Lee Sin could be flexed towards mid. Abadage does play a lot of those melee-style champions, but it is less likely when you look at play rates in pro play. Lee Sin is very popular up towards top. Nocturne is a strong answer to the Lee, being able to have the spell shield to block one of those abilities, but also the fear tether. So it's very difficult for Lee to ever hit a Q and take it in on the Nocturne, because unless you're going to ward hop immediately back out or jump to a minion, you're going to get feared up. You're going to lose in that all in. So the read from Golden Guardians is definitely that Nocturne is up in that top side as well. Gragas,
okay.
One of the supports that I had mentioned, I do think that this is going to be a support Gragas. Of course, you could put that top, you could put Rumble mid, but again, these are much less common flexes. They're more things that you see in solo queue. So expecting it to be,
we're running it back.
Let's go.
We're running it back. It's a Kali part 2, my friends.
Man.
Which means, yes, it's likely to Lee Sin there in the top with Rumble in the jungle.
Yep.
Gragas and Kai'Sa in the bottom lane, and Abadaga there on that Akali in mid. The response from Golden Guardians, the last pick of the draft. There are some powerful ultis to steal away, and Sylas is the choice.
Okay, yeah, Equalizer, the Gragas ulti, all really, really good. Stealing the Akali ultimate can be pretty powerful there as well. We used to see this matchup all the time. Sylas really has some positive interactions there with the Akali.
And honestly, in general, he feels really strong right now. Like, I feel like a ton of the games that I just spectate of high elo solo queue ladder, there's a lot of Sylas being played.
Absolutely. So. I mean, I think it works really well into the meta. You know, one of the things that Sylas can sometimes struggle with is actually when there's a lot of range champions, a lot of kind of more poke where you can't actually close the gap and you can't really get in on top of them. But the meta these days seems to be like almost everyone's drafting for melee.
Yeah,
right?
and dive.
Exactly. So if you are going to be guaranteeing that you're in that scrap, you can be very, very valuable. Get out the first round of spells into the Zonias. Your cooldowns come back up. You become very difficult to knock down. And so many of these champions, as you pointed out earlier, have incredibly valuable ultimates to steal. The Gragas ultimate to split up a fight, to potentially peel for your Jinx, can be utilized defensively. If 4 melee are piling in on your Jinx, well, guess what? Equalizer becomes pretty damn good.
Yup. And 4 melee, and the 180 carry is the 80 carry that is iconic for diving in as if she was a melee champion. If there's a situation to pick Sylas, this one feels pretty good, and we'll see if Ablaliv, as he has now been deemed, is ready to take on this Akali that absolutely smurfed it up yesterday. Remember, not a lot of people were expecting 100 Thieves to be able to take down TSM. TSM came out of the gate so hot in week number 1. They were looking really good, but 100 Thieves. Let's see what it looks like here.
Spicy stuff in the mid lane.
Yes,
no
sir.
flash for Abadaga.
That is confidence.
That is Ignite TP. We've seen this a fair bit with Gwen. This is an option that really you do see from solo laners when they have a dash built into the kit.
Yeah.
A lot of people are comfortable to do this. It is a much more aggressive option. It is still... You can be punished, right? You know, there's less playmaking. There's more potential of that all in. Not having the ability to flash away from potential ganks can be dangerous. But if you don't think that the setup is there, if you can utilize the Shroud defensively to stay safe, then it does give you a lot of kill potential, especially against someone like Sylas. You know, I was talking about getting multiple rotations out of the W, but that Kingslayer, especially the heal when you're very low on Sylas, like that is the difference usually. Yeah, it can be healing for hundreds. So cutting that in half with the Ignite means a Blaze Olive is going to have to play really carefully in any potential all-in.
Right. Plus, when you look at Akali's kit, I mean, you touched on it with the smoke. You've got the smoke. You've got 2 dashes on the E that you can use to try to avoid. You've got 2 dashes on R you can use to try to avoid. Q can slow people. The champion's got some tools, Azael, to get out of some trouble. So I want to see if 100 Thieves are properly playing around this to set him up for the most success. Let's see where junglers are going to begin. It looks like both of them will be going for a top side to bottom side clear here this time around, with Closer starting at his blue buff and Iconic starting at his red. But Iconic will be starting with Unleash.
Yes, sir. Huhi also going very aggressive option here. This is going to be AP Gragas, or at the very least some AP early on. It is starting Spell Thief, so you're going Comet and Ignite. That's as aggressive as you can get for the Gragas in the early laning phase. It becomes largely about, you know, getting control over the brush for Gragas and hitting those Qs continuously. If you lose brush control, if you're actually pushed in and you're playing this Spell Thief's Gragas with Comet, it becomes a lot more difficult to actually consistently hit your Qs. So that is something where they're going to want to have the push. They're going to want to be harassing Stixxay, trying to poke him down, and utilize that to their advantage. Because in a full 100-0 all-in, Gragas is so squishy, especially pre-6. You don't really have that much threat.
Yeah, it's one of those champions where when he pops off and he lands the combo exactly how he wants, he looks incredible. But just a little bit of misplaced accuracy there, and all of a sudden you're in on one of those yakety sacks highlight reels instead. Not what you'd want to see. Up here on the top side, you already touched on a little bit, Nocturne being a good matchup into the Lee Sin, having the spell shield, being very effective against him, considering Lee Sin only gets the second half of his spell if he hits the first half of his spell.
Yep.
So Solo here having priority in that lane nicely.
Exactly. I mean, you're going to have the push. Generally as Lee Sin, what you're trying to do, barring any sort of large mistakes, is you're more trying to tax the mana from the Nocturne because you are resourceless. You're trying to trade consistently, heal it back up with a safeguard, and try to force Nocturne into a situation where he can't reset the wave and is out of mana and then gets stuck into this difficult situation.
Right.
But Nocturne can maintain the push, and if you have the push, you should be able to get good reset timings. Huhi going in.
Yeah, we already got the play coming out here on the bottom half of the map with Chime taken very low, and here comes Rumble. It don't matter if he's CC'd, you can't crowd control the flames, and 100 Thieves are on the board.
And those are those interactions we're talking about. Chime was a bit slow on the flay. Yes, he did get the flay off on Huhi, but he was actually stunned up by that body slam. Huhi now looking for Iconic, who's way too far.
Gets the body slam. Iconic, you can't be there, buddy. 2 kills, 100 Thieves.
That is greedy. He was walking back in with 10% health.
Oh, man, that is a nope from me. You don't want to see it. Golden Guardians now down 1,000 gold after giving away those 2 kills down there, the second of which was entirely avoidable. Let's take a look at the replay.
Yeah, we can watch this one more time. So Chime is a little bit slow here. You can see the flay comes through, but not before he is actually knocked up. Then Closer just making the read. He's about to overheat, flashes in, hits the E with the harpoon for the slow, Flame Spitter for the overheat there, and does get that kill onto Chime. But the worst one is the fact that FBI is supposed to be losing this lane. You get outranged by Jinx. You're supposed to be getting pushed in. You just donated the free kill over to FBI and double buffs.
And an assist. He got the extra money from that as well. He's 101 at 4.5 minutes into the game. This feels great for the Kai'Sa.
Absolutely. I mean, you took what would be a winning lane for the Jinx where you're trying to utilize that range, you're trying to utilize the early support advantage, and now that is pretty much just gone, right? You don't actually win the trade because of the red buff regen. He can just spam out spells as much as he wants there, so Iconic with a pretty critical mistake giving that kill over. 100 Thieves as a result in a very comfortable position. The solo lanes are going pretty well here for Golden Guardians. Some minor advantages in both of those areas, but the bigger lead is going to be on that bottom side, and you've always got to worry about Kai'Sa snowballing.
Okay, first teleport back into the lane will come from Solo here as he returns to top side with his Iron Spike Whip in inventory. It'll allow him to have some extra wave control. You already mentioned how if Nocturne runs out of mana, Lee Sin can get lane control through attrition like that, but the Iron Spike Whip will, of course, allow him to continue pushing the wave in combination with the Duskbringer and just make sure he's always got that priority, especially considering we're seeing solo laners at level 5 right now. Ultimates aren't that far away, and once Nocturne has that, he wants to be leaving the lane.
Yep, absolutely. You have that passive cleave, you have the Iron Spike Whip, the Q to be able to push in here. If you spell shield something, you get bonus attack speed. Like, it all just works towards being able to get this relentless push. And, Someday is trying to hit Qs, then Ward Hop back out, just kind of jump to safety on those minions. I should say safeguard, not Ward Hop, because it's to a minion. But
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Exactly.
Everybody's picking up what you're putting down here. But speaking of picking up, Someday will pick up his boots as his first item. Goes for the defensive option. Yes, plated steel caps. He'll have the extra move speed, whether to run away or stay on top of his opponent. But it's 100 Thieves who are going for the first objective of the game here, nice and early, just past 6 minutes. And they should grab this Ocean Drake uncontested.
This feels honestly like a reaction to the game state. Because your bottom side is already winning, you got an early kill on your bot lane, your jungle got an early kill, they're going to be playing for Dragon, you're saying, all right, they're going to focus towards bottom side. I don't need to actually win now. All I need to do is not sprint it. I just need to be able to be hard to kill, right? And I think Tabby's works really well for that. If Udyr comes up there, that's going to be more difficult to get on this guy with the additional move speed as well. Obviously good for the trades there with Solo, just try to wear him down, utilize the wave clear, stay safe. So I think it makes a lot of sense for Someday, and I think that reactive buys like this can be very intelligent. Just recognizing when you don't really need to be the hero in a game is actually a valuable skill. Your mid laner gets a double kill early on. Hey, all right, I'll just be chilling up here farming on my tower, bud. You do you.
You can still land a big kick later on in the game, get your highlight reel moment, and you are having a great time all the way to the bank. You saw, too, that Iconic was on the top side of the map. As soon as he sees that message, the dragon has been slain. He knows he has the opportunity to move up, set down some vision in the enemy jungle. So Someday just making sure he is safe. Back here in the mid lane, Blaze Olive has the Akali ultimate stolen away. He does have level 7 versus the level 6 of his opponent, but Abbedagge is just about to catch up in terms of that. Back in the bottom lane, Chime at half HP means that it's very difficult for Golden Guardians to posture any way other than defensively at this point in time.
Yeah, Huhi with the additional mana regen there, with the rune setup as well as the spell thieves. He's just looking for Q-poke, right? You just maintain control in the brush, you step forward, you just roll those barrels in, continually poke away. Anytime FBI is seeing an angle, oh, this could be bad.
Nicely done, though. A good death sentence into the Chompers, plus the Ignite. Huhi's about to die, still just barely alive. Drink your potions, people.
Oh, that was so close. A good hook there from Chime, and the fact that it actually caught the body slam, he flays him then into the Chompers.
Oh, that was a very unfortunate dash in for a Blaze Olive. He jumps forward right as closer's ready to go and just makes it look easy for the Thieves.
Yeah, that's the anti-timing there. Going in, getting punished for it immediately. He did have that slight advantage in lane, up about 8 CS, but that is going to go away. He has no TP. Abbedagge is going to be able to push in and reset here pretty easily. So things going from bad to worse here for Golden Guardians. The lead is extending here, 400 Thieves, and despite the fact that Solo has actually done a good job. He's 2 full waves ahead pretty much here. We'll see how much the gap is closed, but he's looking good. It's just he's going to have to get out of lane and try to make something happen. And because he doesn't have TP, he TP'd back to lane. They did trade in that regard. It's tougher for him to get out on the map and make something happen. The roams become much more obvious anytime he's missing. Abbedagge is going to back off. You can look for those ult TP plays, but it's going to be a couple minutes before that, and it may largely hinge on that for Golden Guardians to get something rolling in their direction.
And I feel like that's one of the parts that feels the worst about playing Nocturne top compared to having it in the jungle or in the mid lane, where the rest of the map is so easily accessible, right? I mean, unless there's some sort of a play happening at Rift Herald or happening with the jungle invade, no teleport, no dice, man. No, this is pro play. Nobody's going to notice Nocturne gone for 60 seconds. Just be like, you know what? I want to walk out into the fog. That sounds
But what
fun.
if he's not there?
Horror movie protagonist logic does not work at the LCS.
Well, let's split up and look for the Nocturne,
Come on, guys. Let's go find the killer. He couldn't be in this dank basement.
I'll walk down the dark alley. You go in this cave, and Freak, you can check out the haunted house.
My flashlight's about to die, and my phone's on 1%. I'll see you guys later. 16.7 to 15.2 thousand gold. So we still got ourselves a nice tidy lead here for 100 Thieves, as we are just over 1 minute.
It is tidy, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we're not writing a postcard home about it. Nobody's throwing a party, starting a new holiday over this one. But hey, you're feeling comfortable about it. You got a smile on your face about this one. And now we got a play happening here in the bottom lane. A nice cast coming out from Huhi. Chime's going to be tossed right back into their waiting arms. He will lose his flash to get away.
Yeah, and not overcommitting there. Interesting, I thought they could have potentially gone for that all-in, but because heal and flash are still available on Stixxay, they didn't want to overcommit for the support, but still, great ult and setup there from Huhi. You force out the flash. Next time your ulti is up, or even if they have this roam coming down, we can see Abbedagge moving in.
They're already ready to go, baby. Chime is down. Iconic showing up, trying to get some sort of a revenge kill. Huhi's taking a lot of damage here. Nice use of the stopwatch there to block the super mega death rocket, and now the counterattack to the counterattack is coming on in with the equalizer coming on down. Iconic's running away, and Stixxay is gone.
100 Thieves rolling over them. Golden Guardians getting destroyed on this bottom side. Huhi's Gragas mechanics looking clean there. The initial play forcing out the flash with the ulti, then the clean body slam into flash here to actually follow for this kill. Chime was still pretty low. Huhi's done such a good job of consistently poking him down, pops the sweeper, out of vision, nothing he could do to react to that. Flash directly on top of him for the stun. Then a really good early flash for FBI. If he actually gets hit by the bear slap there from Iconic, potentially could get knocked down. Huhi as well, answering the mechanics check with the stopwatch on the Jinx ulti, following through for an additional kill as Closer and Abbedagge do arrive. And now mid lane is fed, bot is fed, jungle is fed. It is getting really tough.
Ain't nobody on 100 Thieves going hungry in this early game this afternoon, Mr. Razdale. And we got even more showing up here in the bottom lane. Stixay's at 300 HP, but Iconic is there first. FBI getting pulled in by the death sentence with Iconic looking to make a little bit more happen. They're grabbing the shutdown on the enemy AD carry, but everybody's showing up here with the teleports now. Iconic going to be the next one to fall with Abadaga grabbing the kill now on another enemy carry as they'll continue looking for the fight. Chime finds the death sentence, but 100 Thieves are not messing around no more, my friends. Double kill for the Akali, and they continue marching forward. A Blaze Olive solo have to fall back. It is only these two solo laners from Golden Guardians still left alive. And despite the fact that Golden Guardians finally get on the board, it's 100 Thieves winning the fight.
Ding, ding, ding. It's a fight in the bot lane. All 10 members down to the bottom side there. And Golden Guardians looking for that play. They look for the Nocturne ulti into the TP, but 100 Thieves, because they were the ones starting that fight out, were so quick to get down there, so quick to answer and punish. They got 2 dragons. They got a massive gold lead here. Solo, kind of the lone member for his team that is a bit ahead, but I just don't know if it's going to matter because the amount of kills that is going the way of 100 Thieves is really, really tough to deal with. And Hui has just had perfect placement on this, honestly.
So
Rush
good.
control, the ulti perfectly into his waiting arms. Maybe could have blocked that potentially for FBI to try to take him to death for himself. But the TPs were so quick that despite the fact that it is a Nocturne ult into TP, 100 Thieves had already arrived. And that is something where, you really got to give a lot of credit to both the solo laners from 100 Thieves. No hesitation on that TP. If you wait a split second and the Nocturne ulti comes through, well, guess what? You don't get to join that fight now, and maybe it goes the way of Golden Guardians. So quick fingers, quick decision-making from Avadaga, as well as Someday. And look at the Rumble damage, roasting them up.
And it's kind of the same thing that we heard the players talking about in the replay files, right? The trust in the teleports, knowing
Teamwork
that we're
and
going
friendship.
in. This is a one-way ticket, and whether or not the boat gets there, we're all on the damn boat. And that's what 100 Thieves is doing here.
All aboard, baby.
You know it, and that is why they've got that 2,500 gold lead. They've got the first 2 Drakes of the game, and now we'll see what else they can push, what other advantages they can find here for themselves. Someday and Solo now in the bottom lane as things have been turned upside down.
It's just unfortunate because both teams were all aboard. It just happens that Golden Guardians were on the Titanic there, so there's a very different ending to that story.
A little bit unlucky. Sometimes you don't see the Abadaga iceberg until it's a little bit too late. He is 4-0-0 on this Akali. Riftmaker already completed, and we know what this champion does to games of League of Legends when it's ahead of the curve of the game.
Yeah, it makes it no fun for the other people in it. So, and he's going to have a ton of gold. He hasn't based since he's gotten a couple of those kills, so my guess is he's got at least tier 2 boots and stuff on top.
Nearly
2K
2K.
gold.
Yeah, there's
So,
your shoes plus a blasting wand if you want it. Like, that's...
and when you're this far ahead, I mean, you could even just go the kind of utility route, work towards your Zhonya's, go tier 2 boots, stopwatch, start working towards that. You don't need to kind of like optimize your damage. You just need to be able to make plays because you've got more than enough in the kit when you're playing from ahead like this. I mean, he's 3 levels up on the Jinx. The Udyr is quite behind the pace, 4 levels up on the Thresh. Like, these are all champions that are going to be easy pickings for him.
Yeah, and talking about the Udyr in particular, Udyr is one of those champions for me that whenever I look at the scoreboard and see him significantly behind in farm like this, 107 to 134, I'm thinking, man, something has gone horribly wrong. For a champion that was known for so long in League of Legends, yeah, he's useless. He just runs around and slaps you upside the head, but damn, can he farm fast. He's not farming very fast, and it all goes back to that first play. Those 2 kills in the bottom lane kind of just set him behind and set Closer on this roll forward to just take over the game. Yeah,
and to be honest, you have no one to blame but yourself for that first kill that he gave over himself, right? Like that was an unforced error, as I'd like to call it. He just kind of wandered back in, got greedy for the scuttle. It happens. We've all been there. You really want that scuttle. It's worth a lot of gold early on here, but running back in, low health, gives over that kill, and has ended up behind the pace of the game. And because Udyr's only real value is just kind of running in and being tanky, annoying, providing some stuns, when you're behind, it's like the Gromp got some shoes and just started running around the map. You're not that threatening.
Yep, but unfortunately, too, he's worth more than a Gromp. So if he's not careful, that's just more money in 100
Wait till he has
pocket.
a few more deaths.
Oh, no. Well, we've got the Rift Herald in mid lane, grabbing the second turret of the game for 100 Thieves. The one thing the Golden Guardians had going for them as of 60 seconds ago, but no more, they were up 1 turret to 0. They got the first turret right, but 100 Thieves quickly responding, continuing to build that gold lead. We've got the next Drake here in under a minute now. Remember, the first 2 have already gone to 100 Thieves, so if Golden Guardians decides that the game state is too dire, they don't want to fight over this, that means you are now demanded to fight at every dragon they're after.
And I think, honestly, it is too dire. I think that they are going to probably make the call to say, all right, we're too far behind right now. Let's hope we can find a pick. Let's hope we can make something happen. Just try to collect some gold and challenge at that 4th dragon. It feels hard to see how they would actually win a fight here, barring some incredible hook or maybe a stolen Gragas ultimate that knocks in the Kai'Sa and you get an insta-kill. Like, it's got to be something special for them to actually be winning from this game state. 100 Thieves is just in such a good spot with so much power around that Dragon Pit. I mean, you've got the rank 2 ultimate ready to go here for the Rumble, and you're fighting in these really tight corridors where you are just going to get straight up roasted.
And Akali got to shop. So she has her Ignite ready. We've got the Sorcerer Shoes, Fiendish Codex in the inventory now too. Golden Guardians, though, with priority over the Drake Pit, they're just going to get this one. It looks like 100 Thieves have decided, okay, we're going to take the Tier 2 turret in the top lane instead. A TP will be sent up there to make sure that Abbedagge cannot get the entire thing. But good moves there from Golden Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit surprised by the fact that 100 Thieves decide, as we'll watch this fight.
Okay. Nope, we will not. There's not a whole lot more fight to be had.
That might be a dive.
Okay. Here it goes. Paranoia, though. A nice escape from Solo. Is it enough? No, it is not. FBI picks up the kill.
Solo played that about as well as you can.
Yeah,
that was actually pretty
no
slick to be able to get out of that situation as much as he could. At the very least, he forced the flash off FBI, the ult off FBI, so he did get some cooldowns there, but it's tough to play side lane when you're this far behind. Either way, 100 Thieves prioritizing just extending the gold lead themselves instead of actually fighting for soul, maybe feeling, hey, the Cloud Soul, not one we feel we need to prioritize. Maybe if it's Infernal, they go to that Dragon, but in this case, they preferred to just have Abbedagge push in the top side, try to deny some of those minions, collect their farm, extend the gold lead, which they are doing pretty effectively here.
Yeah, and he's got that Zhonya's Hourglass that you're talking about now. He's so far ahead of the curve of the game. Just what you mentioned, go for the utility. Go for the thing that does not give your opponents a window back into the game. He can jump into the fight with complete impunity now. He doesn't care. There's no way they lock him down long enough in his smoke shroud to kill him before he can pop the stick.
Exactly, and when you're that far ahead of the pace of the game, it's not as though this build is not threatening. Like, you can go for the Zhonyas and still 100 to 0 the Jinx, so that's not a problem. And the only way they can really come back is starting to pick up some of these juicy shutdowns. And when you're looking where the shutdowns are, guess what? One has a stopwatch, the other has a Zhonya's. Gets pretty difficult to really be able to collect those, and that's not even taking time to look at how strong FBI is. He is very far ahead of where Stixxay is, thanks to the turret gold they've grabbed, 3 kills and assists as well. And Huhi almost has his Everfrost here to boot. So a lot of playmaking available on this side of 100 Thieves, and it looks like they just want to continue to press forward, take control of the jungle, deny vision, steal away camps, and threaten these towers.
And that's what you want to see, or at least that's one of the things that I always look at for these teams that are trying to rise up and carve themselves out a spot in the upper echelon of the teams here in the LCS. Because I feel like it always comes down to that conversation. Never mind, hold on. We got ourselves a fight breaking out now with a cast finding its way through. Stixxay is going to be taken low, but the kill will not come out just yet. Getting himself away, Chime's doing the same. Down to about 100 HP. 100 Thieves still looking for these kills.
Hunting.
They've got plenty of HP ready to go. They've got the Akali on the hunt. Death Sentence flies out, but it won't find the target, and that means FBI is going in, baby. Knock, 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 open up! Iconic is trying to get out of there, running as fast as his Udyr feet will take him. But Sumday's got the Sonic Wave with the resonating strike. A Blaze Olive goes golden only for a moment, but he's nothing but a trophy for Someday as you got Solo on the run. There's the Akali damage. It don't matter if it's an Hourglass or a Doran's blade. Akali's gonna cut you to pieces, baby.
Oh, you hit that E. That thing is like an ultimate in itself, and as soon as Golden Guardians split up, it was hunting season for 100 Thieves. It's a barbecue at the Baron Pit, dropping the equalizer to roast it up. And man, 100 Thieves are making it look easy here. You could almost feel the fear from Golden Guardians as they're getting hunt down here. As soon as they're split up, there's just really no way to win the fight. You know, Someday does get kicked away, but the solo laners are flanking here. Everyone starts to kind of spread apart here. A Blaze Olive says, all right, well, I'm going over the wall, and now it's kind of every man for themselves. You're getting chased by the bear. it's not about being faster than the bear. It's about being faster than the slowest guy. And in this case, FBI is on the hunt, taking down the bot lane by himself there. And Avadaga, you have got to say, he is so clean on this Akali. Back-to-back days, looking really, really nice. His positioning, finding really good angles in a lot of these fights. The flanks have been very, very impressive, and he is just utilizing this champion to its full effectiveness.
Yeah, the problem is running from one bear is a lot easier than running from a whole...
It's a herd!
A pack or a herd, or what is the proper plural for
bears and helicopters, there's nowhere you can go! You can't even climb a tree!
There's so many bears coming after you, nowhere in the woods is safe.
They're parachuting.
Jungle is gone. 100 Thieves are taking over the map right now with the Tier 2 turrets just crumbling to pieces. Golden Guardians has no business trying to stand and fight for these. They're 7,500 gold behind. Just 22 minutes into the game. The next Drake will spawn here in 10 seconds if 100 Thieves want to opt for that right now. Granted, it won't be the soul, but the equalizer's already coming down. Golden Guardians are able to disengage without any casualties here. Chime losing half HP, probably has to go all the way back to the fountain. They still have that cannon minion powered up here in the mid lane, but they need the rest of the wave to show up before they can take down the Tier 3 turret. 100 Thieves, I love how hard they're pressuring this. They know how strong the lead is that they have. They don't want to drag this game out. They're looking for in-hits, and they're looking for more map control.
Absolutely. I mean, it's such a low cooldown on the equalizer. You know, it's 2/3 of the way back up, right? And you just used it to actually get that tower. You drop it. It is. You force out the locket cooldown. Chime gets chunked out there. He has to go back to base, and you just use this aggressively as a siege tool. They've been very good at snowballing games from ahead here, and you want to see this killer instinct from teams. When you create an advantage, close out that game. Show how good you are at playing with a lead. Make no mistake about it. The 100 Thieves are leaving no doubt here.
And that's kind of the point that I was getting towards before we got the fight right before the bear.
Before I started talking about bears, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we were talking about the bears and all that other good stuff. Is just how that's what I want to see from teams that are challenging for those top spots against the likes of the Cloud9s and the Liquids and the TSMs, right? And now 100 Thieves, they're looking to maybe end the game right now. You've got Avadaga staying alive there in the smoke, and that's what I was talking about with stasis plus smokescreen. You're not dying. Sorry, Golden Guardians, it doesn't happen like that. However, someday does not have a stasis, someday does not have a smoke screen, and someday does not have a screen in full Technicolor any longer.
Yeah, no smoke screen, but he does have a gray screen. Can look pretty similar.
White, my friend, here for a little while. 100 Thieves will end up giving over the third kill of the game there. Ends up being a bit of a freebie, and with losing that man, they have to back off a little bit now. But hey, the Dragon's waiting as a consolation prize.
Yep.
Sorry for your loss.
Exactly. You take the Dragon, you take the jungle camps on the way out, grab the scuttle. They still have their side of the map to farm as well. You can see Avadaga over by that blue buff, going to be grabbing that for himself. He is getting dangerously close to death cap, which is just where it's like, he hit the E, time to accept your death.
You're dead, yeah. E-E-R. Yeah. Like, that's it.
That's generous. He can just press Q at that point. He doesn't need the R.
I mean, I'm assuming this is through Summoner Spells and Thresh Shield and probably some sort of lock.
Your Scion with 8,000 health.
Yeah. Eventually, he'll have to press the first half of the R button. Second half of the R button's just for show, but that first one,
hit
sometimes
the E,
you need to get it done.
You flash the emote, you do a little dance, and then you press second E, and they collect the kill.
And then you watch it on YouTube 5 hours later with some nice wub music behind it, baby. Just farming up some views.
Spin, yeah. Good transitions. I like it.
The old Call of Duty hit marker noise on it for no reason. Yeah. We're going old school with this one. Oh boy. Closer walking up, face checking the brush here. Looks like Golden Guardians punish a little bit, but not enough to really make a play out of it. We got the rest of 100 Thieves coming in to collapse. Now Avadaga will find the enemy support, but now he's being CC'd quite a lot, trying to jump behind enemy lines to take out the AD carry, but instead having to turn his focus. Never mind! Avadaga dominating with the kill on Stixay. He will continue moving forward. Sumday's right next to him. Blaze Olive wants to get over the wall, but not today, sir. Iconic will be the next target with the solo laners on 100 Thieves, just taking everybody apart.
Avadaga is breaking ankles here. Blaze Olive flashing in, trying to land the stun, but the shuriken flip in his face. See you later. Taking him down 6-0 and 2. 100 Thieves on the death march here. They're looking to close this one out 15-3, 26 minutes in.
I could not think of two champions more opposite than Akali and Karma, but this man's able to play them both pretty exceptionally. I'm starting to think 100 Thieves might be onto something. with this new man in the mid lane here. Looking for their last inhib of the game. They'll clear that one out in the bottom lane. Golden Guardians do almost have everybody back alive, so 100 Thieves trying to be a little bit careful here. Don't want to end up doing some sort of a Hail Mary throw right at the finish line.
Really what they're doing is they're doing me a solid because I have a couple 100 Thieves members on my fantasy draft.
Oh, you're just trying to pad your stats. You're like, okay, guys, drag this out a little bit more.
All right, guys, let's play for Elder. But we only have 3 dragons. Yeah. Play for Elder.
Let's play for Elder, bro. Just another 9 minutes in this game. No worries.
Play for KDA. Be safe here, guys. Come on, get it together. I'm trying to win some points in fantasy.
Just need to get a couple more items on Akali, right? I mean, she's still got a Dorian shield in inventory. Who wants that thing? You buy that at the start of it. That's an early game item.
Really.
Imagine playing like an RPG and you're still wearing your level 1 hat. That would be terrible. You need to replace that with some high-quality mage assassin items. If they live through 2 spells, you don't have enough items.
Yeah, I mean, the death cap is basically like the RPG equivalent of like 12-foot-long sword that's made out of a dragon's spine, and then you just have some brown paper bags on your feet with the Torrent shield.
Wearing a random horseshoe on your arm is some sort of like a bracer or something. All right, Golden Guardians. Let's see if you got anything left in the tank. The Super Mega Death Rocket! Jinx is so good at that, man, but it's not enough. They'll lose the support. They're going to lose the mid laner, too. It's a 5v3 on the map. Stixay can at least say, hey, that was cool, but that's about all you're going to get.
Can watch that one back in replay files sometime next year. The Jinx rocket that could. But this one, it looks like it's all over now. 3v5 here.
Solo pops the paranoia just to buy a moment here through that darkness. Getting himself back to the fountain now below half HP. Nexus turret number 1 should be out of the picture here very swiftly. Iconic, Stixay, Solo. A 3v5 into this far behind is a pretty tall order. They end up getting the stasis out of Abadaga, but he continues looking for damage instead. He's got the smoke to play around here for a while. Solo continues trying to scare these guys away, but now with Stixay having to fall back to that fountain, there's not a whole lot of threat left. Sunday's got the stopwatch that time around, and it makes for easy money here for 100 Thieves. They take the Golden Guardians down, and they make it look simple.
This team is looking so damn good. Freak had him as his pick to win the split before the split started. You know, that was starting off. I was like, that's pretty spicy, Freak. But every game I'm watching, I'm like, maybe this guy's onto something here.
I mean, it's also Freak who continually asks you questions like, is a Pop-Tart a sandwich? So you have to always wonder, but sometimes the man is just onto a stroke of genius, and 100 Thieves are looking fantastic here in these first couple games.
They are looking incredible. The aggression is really what is impressing me. The ability to actually snowball and close out these games. They're making it look so easy. You're playing these 4 melee comps that aren't really very good at sieging. It's Kai'Sa plus 4 melee. You can't close games in a traditional manner. You need to deny vision. You need to find fights, pick the right engages, snowball objectives. And they really did everything right to close out this game very quickly, make it look really easy, and just a very impressive win.
Yeah, those all melee compositions can look very different if you don't snowball hard enough to just deathball the objectives, right? If they're not at the point where they can just make that happen at the inhibitor turrets, drop the equalizer, hard force the turret down, all of a sudden that game feels like it does take 15 minutes longer to end, right? So 100 Thieves doing what they needed to do early, but also I do have to acknowledge some of the mistakes, especially early on, like that error from Iconic in the bottom lane after the first blood death where he gets caught after the fact. That kind of set the tempo for the jungle for the rest of the game. Closer was able to pop off. He was always ahead, while Iconic seemed like this Udyr was just struggling to be relevant.
He really was. And those mistakes are killer because it wasn't just giving a kill over to your other jungler, right? To like get a little bit behind and, you know, you give over that kill to Rumble. He gave over the kill and the double buffs to FBI. So you took what was supposed to be a winning matchup in the 2v2, utilizing the, the range of the Jinx into the Kai'Sa. A lot of people like this matchup. You utilize the rockets to poke, you get the push. All of a sudden, Kai'Sa has double buffs. Your poke doesn't matter anymore. You lose all those trades. You lose control of that 2v2. Your winning matchup is now a losing one. And the map starts to kind of collapse because now you can't control the dragons. You can't control the bot side. It just all kind of fell apart pretty quickly for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, they had the top lane going for them, right? Yep, like we were looking at Solo's matchup against Someday. He had, as you said, like a couple wave lead there pretty early on. But when you only have the Nocturne, and when he has to use the teleport early to maintain that lane control and that lane pressure, he can't get anywhere else. He can't affect the rest of the game. It's a 5v5, man. One dude is not enough to change the course of it all too often.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where it's like, hey, Solo, you're doing pretty well. You're up 12 CS. Good job. And then you look down in the mid lane and Kali's 4-0 with like 2 items, like, you're like, ooh, wow, that's a tough one.
Let's go back to the island called Top Lane. The mainland ain't so fun anymore, but man, 100 Thieves made that look really good.
They did.
This is a team that if they continue playing like this will be very exciting to see through these upcoming weeks because they are looking like a legitimate contender, a legitimate challenger for that top of the table now.
Absolutely. And I'd also like to go back really quickly to that bottom lane fight where there was 10 men bot. Credit to 100 Thieves being so fast on the double TP down towards bottom lane. If those TPs don't come through before the Nocturne ultimate, that game could look very different. If you lose that fight there, maybe Golden Guardians find a way back in, but they couldn't.
Yep, 100 Thieves made a swift job of this matchup against the Golden Guardians, but now we're going to hand things over to La Tigres on stage with Huhi for our Verizon postgame interview.
Swift is definitely one way to describe it. I do have Huhi here right after the 100 Thieves victory. Gragas picked today. Why'd you decide to bust that out?
We had Kaisa picked already, and we kind of had a full dive comp, and they early picked their bot lane, banned 2 of my champions, which was Nautilus and Leona. So yeah, like Gragas was our third pick, and I always wanted to pick Gragas on stage, but we knew it was a hard laning phase, but we knew that we could deal with them even though it was a hard laning phase, so we picked it.
And you did very much deal with them very effectively. Even though this is the first game of the day, we actually did get to hear from you earlier in the episode of Replay Files, reflecting upon your time on CLG in 2016, saying that team just felt different. How would you compare this 100 Thieves roster to those championship teams of times past?
I think honestly, I feel like we're going to that process where we are kind of starting to believe in the process. We start grabbing some wins, feel good together, and getting along. I feel like we just have to keep on that momentum, and we can actually become one of those championship team as well.
And it sounds like that process has went through a lot of changes. GM Papa Smithy, for instance, sharing in his GameZone interview that there is a more simplified coaching approach. Can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah, I think with Reaper coming in, I think it just gave us, all of us, like a really like new perspective. Even though it sounds simple, I feel like he's really direct, and there's no excuses around it. And in the end, we all agree, and it's just hard to deal with it. But we know that in the end, that's what will make us successful. And yeah, I feel like the way how he's coaching and the way how he's like his philosophy and all that is just amazing. And I'm really lucky to work with him.
It sounds like there is so much genuine excitement from you and your teammates working alongside Reaper. And I know that there is a bit more of an individual approach, as also discussed in that same interview, asking you to focus on your contributions to the team. So how would you define yourself and the way that you do contribute to this team overall?
I feel like it just changed my mindset a lot, where I feel like before I will think about how I can communicate better for my team, but now it's like how I can just play better as myself. And I just have that same trust to other players, and that it's just, if we all have that mindset, it's gonna be pretty natural that we're all gonna be really good players in our same team, and I think that will just give us like a successful team.
Stay true to yourself. Stay true to the victory. Just a quick thought on your next matchup. You're facing off against EG, Danny, and the like. What do you got to say?
Yeah, I think Danny, he's really young, talented AD carry. We just think he does have some issues in the laning phase, so we might try to punish that a bit, like today we did. But I think overall, he just needs some time, and he can become a pretty good AD carry, and we're excited to face him.
I'm sure the 100 Thieves fans are ready for that type of punishment. Huhi, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you so much.
We do have more action to come here in the LCS. We are going to kick to a quick break, but when we return, it's game number 2. Stay tuned.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you.